If you need unlimited domination, clutch time, or anything else online or offline grinding, make sure you hit up RoseNBA on Twitter for quick, safe, and reliable grinding services. Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're building the tier list of the best shooting guards in NBA 2K23 MyTEAM. As y'all can see, only got like 16 cards on this tier list, so each of these tiers are going to be pretty small, but we just don't have that many elite cards at the shooting guard position in MyTEAM right now, or really just not that many cards in general, but we should be getting new cards pretty soon with Volume 2 coming out. Obviously, new content drops every Friday and Tuesday, things like that. So lots of packs and cards will be coming out. So these future lists will definitely have more cards on them. But these are the guys that I think are the top viable shooting guards in the game, and the guys that I think are worth running potentially in your lineup and worth rating in this video. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 7,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day, multiple videos a day, and I would really appreciate your support if you haven't already, if you do subscribe. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. And let's start off with Ochai Agbaji. And I think Ochai is a pretty decent card. Definitely think he's got some value to him for sure, especially once he is evoed to that diamond tier, which is what we're rating him on, of course. Coming in with 2 Hall of Fame badges, 16 gold badges, decent height with a good wingspan, a couple good finishing badges, a 90 driving dunk is amazing. Really, really good shooter, but unfortunately does not get the limitless range badge, which is kind of annoying. No quick first step, clamp breaker handles for days, things like that, killer combos, which is annoying. So he's not really much of a playmaker, even though he does have 88 speed and excel, but he dunks the ball at a high level. So if you just use that speed and transition, it definitely is nice. And then defensively, he is a solid enough card, as well as silver clamps, bronze interceptor, a bunch of good gold badges, and Hall of Fame off-ball pest as well. And then Hall of Fame catch and shoot is an amazing badge. The reason I'm having this low is because of the few badges that he is missing, and additionally the fact that the release just isn't that incredible. Sigs wise, also not incredible. So his movement isn't amazing, missing some few badges, and his release is a little bit slow. So for that reason, he doesn't go higher than B tier, but he's a really solid budget option at the 2. Coming in the S tier quite easily is Andre Iguodala, arguably the best shooting guard in the game at 6'6" with 6'11" wingspan. He's got good size, a great player build, hot spots from 3 out of 5 spots outside the 3-point line. He's got off limitless takeoff, clamps, and menace. Only key badge that he is missing, I would say, would be that limitless range badge. Also brick wall and post lockdown anchor, kind of, but the interior badges aren't really that crucial on him because he's really not guarding the interior that much. But additionally, he's got an 86 interior, which is incredible, but his perimeter defense is really where he shines. An incredible perimeter defender, one of the best locks in the game, 89 speed and excel, 84 shot 3, and 95 driving dunk. He is just an elite all-around card. Really, really good on the defensive end, but also has got a really knockdown release, easy to green. It's not the fastest, but it's definitely not slow either. MJ dribble style is great. Kobe escape is one of the best escapes in the game. Andrew Wiggins behind the back isn't amazing, but I think overall this Iggy card is really, really good and is one of my favorite small forwards, favorite shooting guard, if not favorite shooting guard in the game. An amazing card, easily S tier for me. Chris Mullen. I'm going C tier for Chris Mullen. The thing to remember with this list is there are only a few cards on this list, so I have to be pretty picky with where I rank each of these cards, and I just don't think Mullen does enough besides being able to shoot the ball to be high on this list. Like, he's got good perimeter defensive stats, but he can't get clamps, glove, or interceptor, which are probably the 3 biggest defensive badges on the perimeter. He's not a good interior defender, doesn't have quick first step, and is slow with only a 79 speed and excel. Not an elite slasher either. Knockdown shooter with a good release, but that's all he does. He doesn't really do anything else on the court particularly well, and that limits you a lot. Does have the Kobe escape, pro dribble style is fine, and the Chris Mullen release is good, but he just doesn't move well. He doesn't defend well. He doesn't slash well. All he does is shoot the ball, and he does that in elite level, but just doesn't do enough to be on a higher level than C tier. Danny Green. I'm going to go top of B, I think, because we have a few trophy case cards and things like that on this list. But Danny Green is a really good card. Like, he could be argued A for sure. 6'6" with a 6'10" wingspan, all 5 hotspots outside the 3, which is super nice. Half clutch shooter, and then a ton of gold shooting badges. Silver range at 3 and amped, and then bronze limitless range. Can get the quick first step badge, which is nice, and has really, really good defensive badges, gold defensive badges. He's a 3-and-D guy, not a great dunker, not elite speed, but he's a really, really good defender, even solid on the interior, and a knockdown shooter with a really, really good release. I'm really high on the card. MJ dribble style is nice as well, but he doesn't quite have the speed to be a great playmaker. But the stuff behind the back is also really good. Honestly, Danny Green is going to be the best card in B tier. I might even consider moving him up to A tier. He's a very, very good card in my team. Dell Curry probably comes in the D tier, I guess the bona fide F tier. We don't actually have an F tier on this tier list, but regardless, I would put him around that D or F tier. Coming in at 6'5" with a 6'8" wingspan. He doesn't have elite size. Badge-wise, does not have elite badges. Few good gold shooting badges. Bronze limitless range is nice, but he's slow. He's a bad defender. He's a knockdown shooter, but he can't even barely dunk the ball. He's basically Chris Mullen, but worse. Good release. Movement, though, is bad. I mean, he shoots the ball, and that's about it. He shoots the ball at a high level, but that really is about it with this card. And he does it at a worse level than Mullen. I have Mullen in C. I'm going with Dell Curry in D. A tier for Dominique Wilkins seems fair for me. I really think Dominique is a very, very solid card. Really good all the way around. He's got great speed, good shooter. Release is a little questionable, but he's an incredible slasher and a really solid perimeter defender with silver clamps, which is nice. Can't get glove or interceptor, but he is a decent defender all the way around still. Playmaking wise, not bad. Can upgrade his quick first step and can add a couple shooting badges to him as well, like blinders, claymore, and guard up to improve that area. And then he's one of the best slashers in the game. Release, Ray Allen base, for whatever reason, with his upper just isn't that amazing. It's a bit inconsistent, but he's not a bad shooter whatsoever. I think he's a very, very solid card, no doubt about that. I just don't think he's quite S tier level for me with how many good shooting guards there are in the game, especially including a couple of those trophy case players. Definitely high on Dominique, though. I think he's super solid. John Havlicek is also going B tier. I know he's a pink diamond. I know he's the domination award, the grand prize or whatever from domination, but he's just not that good. He doesn't have elite size. He doesn't have elite speed. He doesn't have elite defense. He's got good badges defensively, and he's a good enough perimeter defender, but he doesn't move well either, which is also crucial. Good shooter, good defender, but he's just not elite. Like, I would put him on the same level as a guy like Danny Green. They honestly are very, very similar cards. I would say Danny Green's release probably is even a little bit better than Hondo's, and Hondo's movement isn't good either besides the Kobe escape. But he's got a good release, and he's got really good stats and badges outside of the speed being a bit low. But with him not having elite size or elite speed, he just doesn't move well either. Like, he's kind of mediocre. He's not bad whatsoever. Every card on this list is good, especially the guys B tier and up. But I just don't think he's quite deserving of those top two tiers. Kyle Korver is going A tier for me, one of, if not the best shooters in the game, but unfortunately he's a little bit limited in other areas. He does have good size, 6'7" with a 6'9" wingspan, but he's slow. That's really the biggest complaint with the card. Also not a great slasher, but shooting-wise, he's incredible. One of, if not the best shooters in the game. Like I said, you can add quick first step to him. You can add clamps, glove, interceptor, maybe a limitless takeoff as well. So you can add a few badges to him, maybe bully, to improve him a bit. But outside of shooting, again, he's just not an elite all-around card. I would definitely add some defensive badges to him, because with those defensive badges like clamps, glove, and interceptor added, he becomes a very, very solid perimeter defender as well. So he becomes a really good 3 and D card. And like I said, he's so good as a shooter and solid enough in other areas, especially once you badge him out, and the fact that he can get those badges, that he still is a very good card. I just wish he was a little bit quicker, really, and a little bit more athletic. So that's why he's not S tier, but he's so good as a shooter and can get enough badges that he does go in at the A tier. Luca is D tier. Luca card's just not that good. I mean, Luca's my favorite player in the world, like my favorite player in basketball right now, my second favorite player of all time. Love myself some Luca, but this card's not good. Horrendous defender, slow, kind of can shoot. Shooting badges are okay, but release is not very good. Doesn't get quick first step. Doesn't get any of the key defensive badges. Not a good slasher. Once Luca gets a better card, I'm sure he'll be a good card in my team. He was incredible last year. He was really good in 2K21 as well. But this year, to start off with anyway, this Luca is not very good whatsoever. I think he's easily F tier for me personally. MJ is actually going to slot in at C tier because despite the fact that MJ only has a 63-pointer, this card is low-key knockdown when he's open. If y'all have used MJ and played against MJ, he's quite easy to green with, even from the three-point line, with only a 63-pointer, which is honestly very, very nice. But he's a really good slasher. He's got really good dunk animations. He's got acceptable speed, and he's an acceptable perimeter defender. Got good all-around badges as well. No limitless range, no handles for days. You can add quick first step if you want to. Defensive badges are decent, not incredible, no glove. But honestly, he's a pretty solid all-around card. He's not amazing. He's very, very limited in terms of his badges for sure, but statistically, he's pretty good, and he shoots the three-pointer much better than you would think. MJ dribble style is good. Dame behind the back is good. Obviously, a very solid card. He's not amazing. Statistically, could be a little better maybe, and badge-wise could definitely be better, but I think he's better than the guys in D tier and deserves that C tier spot. Mitch Richmond, I'll be honest, I put him in C tier, but I don't honestly know where this card even deserves to go because I have not looked at this card one time this year. So 6'5" with a 6'8" wingspan, 84 speed and excel, 72 interior, 75 lateral is not good for a wing. Clamps, glove, interceptor, he can't get. He can get quick first step, doesn't get limitless. Really solid shooter with good shooting badges, but no limitless range. Slashing wise, it's kind of average at best. Perimeter defense is not going to be very good. His release is good. It's very similar to last year's, even though it's not Ray Allen based this year. It's David Robinson. It honestly looks very similar to last year's, but the movement isn't great either. I'm not going to lie. 75 lateral quickness is scary for a guy who is only 6'5" and doesn't get clamps, glove, or interceptor. He's undersized, doesn't get those badges. He looks like Hondo, but a little bit worse without elite movement either. Like very, very similar to Hondo, just a little worse. I'm actually going to leave him in C tier. Does not look like an amazing card to me. Richard Jefferson is our second S tier player of the video. I should say Richard Hamilton. I'm sorry. And this Richard Hamilton, I think, is one of the most underrated, under the radar trophy cards we've got. 6'6" to 6'9" wingspan, hot spots from basically everywhere, 10 Hall of Fame badges, including a lot of good shooting badges, can get limitless range, can get quick for step, already a good defender with the ability to get the interior badges like brick wall and post lockdown, as well as glove. And he's an acceptable slasher with an 80 driving dunk. You can add limitless takeoff. Got good speed at 89. That's really good. Elite shooter and an elite perimeter defender. The only flaw with this card is that interior defense, but I think adding a badge like brick wall and post lockdown can help with that if you want to. And really, that's not the most crucial thing for a shooting guard, but he's a super solid defender, a knockdown shooter with a really good release. This Jaden Springer release is a release I actually like a lot on Jeremy Lin when I used that card. I think it's honestly quite good. And then the Kobe escape is good as well. Normal dribble style isn't great, but honestly, he's a really good 3-and-D guy. Haven't seen many people with this card, but honestly looks really, really good to me on paper, and I do think he's definitely an S tier type of guy. Richard Jefferson, I am also going to throw in the S tier, the other Richard trophy case card, and statistically, this card is right up there with the best shooting guards in the game, if not the best, in terms of his stats. 93 speed and excel, 91 shot 3, 95 driving dunk, 80 plus on every single defensive stat, including 89 lateral and 87 perimeter defense. Hoff catch and shoot, slippery off-ball corner specialist, off-ball pest, and pogo stick, and then elite slashing ability as well. He's got great size, 6'7", with a massive player build. Really, really good defender. Can get glove, can get playmaking badges if you want to add those to him. Can get the limitless range badge as well. So he can be very, 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 very badged out with all those key badges as well. My biggest complaint with the card is I don't love his release. I don't think it's horrible, but I don't think it's particularly great, and that is the biggest flaw with the card. If he had a really good release, he'd be the best shooting guard in the game for sure. But without that elite release, I don't think he's quite the best shooting guard in the game, but I still do think he's good enough to go into the S tier. Definitely a really good card. Olo Depot is another pretty easy A tier. I would say he's on the level of Dominique Wilkins, where he's very, very good, but not quite S tier. 6'4" with a 6'9" wingspan. He's a bit short, but he's got great speed, great perimeter defense, really good shooter, and an elite slasher as well. His Hoff badges are not amazing ones, although fast switch and guard up are decent. He doesn't get bully either, no limitless range. None of the interior badges, but defensively, he is still very solid with a bunch of good gold badges, as well as silver glove and interceptor. Perimeter defense is really good. He's a bit small and doesn't have great interior stats, so he's going to get mashed a little bit. And then he doesn't get bully or limitless range, which would be two badges that I would really like him to get. But his release is good. His movement is, while not amazing, it's not bad. Pro dribble style is pretty decent. And I do think he is a very, very solid card in my team. Really good stats and badges. He's not super budget, but like for his price, he's an amazing, amazing shooting guard. And I think he's a really, really good card in my team. Then we have another guy who's a pretty easy S tier. That's Vince Carter. And even though Vince is missing a few perimeter defensive badges and he doesn't get limitless range, he's so good, I don't care. 90 speed and excel, and 88 shot 3, and incredible slashing ability, as well as decent all-around perimeter defense. Now, doesn't get clamps, glove, or interceptor, which would be a killer for a lot of cards, in addition to not having limitless range. But he is so good offensively with an elite release. He moves really well. He's the best slasher, in my opinion, in the game, period. Almost never gets blocked or just stopped, period. And he gets incredible dunk animations. Like, he's right there with guys like Blake as the best slasher in the game. This card is so good. I love Vince. He feels so fast with the ball. His movement is good with MJ dribble style, Kobe escape. His release is something I am a massive fan of. I am so high on this Vince. I think he's an easy S tier. I know his stats and badges don't quite jump off the page at you, but he plays so well in game. Really like this Vince, and he's even not a bad defender, even with missing those perimeter defensive badges. He's got good perimeter defensive stats, a good player build. Overall, really good card. Pretty easy S tier for me. And then finally, we got Zach Levine, who kind of is on that same level of guys like Dominique and Olo Depot. This card's flaw is his defense with mediocre perimeter defensive stats and very limited on the defensive badges. But again, I mean, he's Vince light, in all honesty. An elite slasher with a good release, who's a knockdown shooter and a great playmaker. He's just not quite as good as Vince defensively, doesn't quite have the player build of Vince, probably not quite as good of a slasher as Vince, and honestly, his release probably isn't even quite as good as Vince. He's a very good card. Don't get that wrong. Definitely a big fan of the card in my team. Offensively amazing, just doesn't quite give me what guys like Vince and the other guys in S tier give me on the court. So for me, he's going to be the last card in A tier. So this is my ranking of the best shooting guards in NBA 2K23 MyTEAM right now. Let me know what you think of my list down in the comment section down below. And if you think I missed anybody as well, let me know about that so I can tell you where I would put that card on this list as well. So hopefully y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And I'll be back with more 2K content very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.